So welcome to the inaugural session of It Takes All of Us. Why suicide prevention is important and why it's part of NAMI Maine and what we do. My name is Greg Marley. I am the Senior Clinical Director of Suicide Prevention here at NAMI Maine, and I'm really happy to be here with
Julianne McLaughlin. I am the coordinator of the Suicide Prevention Program here at NAMI Maine.
And Julianne and I have been working on suicide prevention here at NAMI for a couple of years.
Yes.
Together, and NAMI's been involved in suicide prevention work in the state of Maine intensively for the past 12 years and really for about the past 15 years. And why we really feel it's important to our mission, suicide risk is on the rise. It's on the rise in Maine, it's on the rise across the country. In Maine, someone dies by suicide approximately every 36 hours. And we have, just to put it in perspective, more than 10 times as many suicides as we have homicides in a given year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we believe deeply, and I come at this from some very strong personal losses to suicide in my family and in my friendship group, but I deeply approach this as suicide is an often preventable tragedy. And that prevention relies on people being ready, willing, and confident in engaging someone who's at risk. And that's what we do, right?
Yes, it is. We put a lot of work and effort into building awareness and educating so that we can build confidence in having those conversations, as well as just let people know that it's okay and they should ask and reach out for help because it's there.
And we'll talk about some of the work we do, and specifically the training and such, but I often hear stories. It's not unusual. I remember this one school person who attended one of our day-long gatekeeper trainings where we really prepare someone to do suicide prevention within their role. And he called me literally the next week. He said, Greg, it's like the next day after that training, I was faced with a young student who was really struggling, and I said, oh, wow, I'm going to need to ask these questions. And so I played with the script we use, I asked the questions, I engaged with the kid, and this was a child who was really struggling. It was a sixth grader who had faced a whole lot of stresses at home and at school and didn't want to be here. And using the techniques we give, this teacher was able to connect him with the help he needed. That's what we do.
It is.
So, why is prevention? Why would you think that prevention works?
Well, prevention works because it encourages people to find that hope and to get help to move forward. Just building conversations and building connections is really what helps people. I know that is certainly what I would have needed as a teenager when I was in some of the hardest moments of my struggles, that I felt that I couldn't talk to anyone because I was that kid that has everything going for them. So I wasn't comfortable in dropping down my walls or revealing that I was having struggles. And people, because what they saw was the student that has everything going for them and the smile on my face, they didn't ask if I was struggling or not. So to really build those conversations and have them part of our regular conversations, whether someone is or isn't struggling, is really important for building that hope and connection for people.
Yeah. Prevention works. And our goal is to have someone there with that person struggling to get them through those dark moments. Because darkness happens, despair happens. And if you can support someone, we know even after a suicide attempt, more than 90% of the people who make a significant attempt on their lives go on to live. They go on to reconnect with hope, they connect with help, and they live. And that's the important part of this. Because someone who's in that crisis, as you kind of referred to, they feel all alone. Even though they may be surrounded, if as a student, surrounded by friends at school, they feel alone in their despair. And when we talk about intervention, mostly it means breaking that isolation, connecting someone with hope, with help, and supporting and moving forward. So we really believe, that the work we do, providing the training, the support, and resources, that's what supports prevention. We make sure that prevention is part of everybody's role. no matter what they're doing.
Yes, absolutely. It is absolutely something that is up to everyone. It's teachers, friends, families, coworkers, anyone who's involved in anyone else's life.
And we are doing increasingly, we do teach teachers on how to do lessons, because it's a role that our youth need to play. Because when you were a teenager, were you more likely to talk to a friend or a teacher or somebody else?
It was friends talking to friends. I was the friend that people talked to when they were struggling, and if I was struggling, I might have said something to a friend, and I probably wouldn't have said something to an adult.
Yeah, so we need to support the youth to be able to help their friends, and when do they do that piece of turning it over to a caring adult? That's what we do. NAMI Maine. This is Greg Marley.
And this is Julianne McLaughlin.
And we look forward to seeing you next time on this ongoing podcast, because it takes all of us, because we're here to support prevention, because prevention works. See you next time.